Wikipedia, good morning. Welcome to the first session of the 13th National People's Congress. And this is the first press conference. And today we'll take questions on innovation and improve of macroeconomic control and the promotion of high-quality development. It's a great honor to invite Mr. He Lifeng, Director of the National Development and Reform Commission, Deputy Director Zhang and Ning Jizhe to answer your question. Now the floor is open.
中区第3排的这位女士。
谢谢主持人，新华社记者，我想给何立峰主任提个问题。2017年，我国 GDP 增速超出预期，有观点认为我国经济已经开始触底反弹，请问您是否认同这一观点？刚刚出炉的2018年政府工作报告提出，今年我国经济增长的预期目标仍然是6.5%左右，这和2017年的表述完全一样。有人提出，今年无论是投资、消费还是出口，都面临很大的不确定性，或许很难有去年那样大的增幅。请问您又是怎么看的呢？谢谢。
With Xinhua News Agency, this question is for Minister He.In 2017, China's GDP grew faster than expected. Some say that the Chinese economy has started to rebound. Do you agree with them? In the recently released government work report, the economic growth target is set at around 6.5% for this year, the same as last year's target. Yet some believe that as investment, consumption, and export are all facing major uncertainties, the economy couldn't grow as fast as last year. What is your response to them? Thank you.
好，谢谢。首先呢，衷心感谢
First of all,
媒体的
I would like
记
to
者和朋友们呢，
extend
长期以来对我们国
our
家
sincere gratitude to
发展
all
改
the
革委
media
一
friends
项工作的
for your
关
long-term
心、理解、
support
支持
and
和帮助，
focus.
也衷心期盼呢，
And
大家一如既往的给发展改革工作呢，
We
给更多的
hope to
关心、
receive your
理解、支
continuous
持和帮助。
support in
我
our
理解
work
刚才这位
made
记
by
者朋友提到
NDRC.
的这个问题呢，
Regarding to your question,
对当前的中国的经济形势是怎么看？
how do
昨天
we
上午呢，
take on the current situation of
李
China's
克强总理
economic
在
development?
政府工作报告当中呢，
Yesterday morning, in the working
过
report
去5年的
delivered by
工作
Premier
特
Lee,
别是经济工作呢，进行了全面的回顾。
we
也
reviewed
提出了
fully
经
the
验
previous years,
对
especially
当前的
the
经济
work
形
we
势
have
呢
done
进行
in
了
economic development.
全面
And we
深刻的
also
分析，
had an in-depth analysis
2018年的
on
经济工作呢
economic
提出了
development and
9大
also set out
具体的举措。
9 points of
这里呢，跟大家
detailed
一起
actions
分享一下
toward
呢我
this
的一点
year's
学习、
work.
认识和体会。
I would like to take this opportunity to share with you my thoughts.
中国经济
For
其实面临的
2017,
形势是
actually,
非常错综复杂、
we face a very
严峻的，
profound and
黑
challenging
天鹅事
situation,
件也不断，灰犀
a
牛
lot
事
of
件也有。
volatilities.
在习近平新时代中国特色社会主义思
And
想的
with Xi
指引
Jinping's
下，
thought on socialism with Chinese
我们
characteristics for a new
通过认
era,
真贯彻中央经济工作会议
we
的精神，
fully
认
implement
真的落实
the
政府工作
central
报告
economic
部署
working meetings and also the documents released by the central government.
促改革，
The pursuing
调结构，
progress were ensuring
惠民生，
stability and structural
防风险
reforms,
各项工作
bring
呢取得
benefits
了
to
较好
the
的成绩。最后
society
年终
and
算账的结果呢，
prevent
就是我们的国内
risks.
生产总值
Overall, our
达到了
China's
82
GDP
万7千亿人民币。
reached
按照去年12月31
82.7
号的
trillion
汇率
yuan.
计算呢，
If we calculate based on
12万
the exchange
2000多亿
rate
美元。
by the end of
这比
December,
当
that's
然比
around
美国作为世界第一大经济体还差7万多亿美元。
12 trillion US dollars.
世界
If
第
we
三大
compare
经济体
to the
日本
third
我们也多了7万多亿美元，所以我们还
economy,
居于
Japan, and we around
世界第二大经济体。
700 million
我们觉得这是
US dollars
非常不
more
容易
than them. So we maintain
特别是
our
增长幅度呢，
status as the
达到
second
了
largest
6.9%。
economy, and our
增长的数目
annual growth of
达
not
到了
6.9%.
83500亿元人民币。按照去年12月31号的汇率计算呢，大概相当于12700亿美元。
So that's
这是
around
什么概念呢？
127 million
人
US dollars
均
growth. So we per
GDP
capita
的 增长的数达到了
per
900，
capita.
大约是900美金左右。
So the growth rate is
那
around
么我们遥想上世纪80年代我们改革开放初期，我们
US
党
dollars
所提出来的
back
到
to the China's
2000年
opening
的奋斗目标，
up and
就是要实
reform.
现
By
人均
2020,
国内生产总值
the GDP
800
per capita
那我
to
们现
reach
在一年
$800 US dollars.
经济
So
人均
for
经济增
2070
长
only,
达到了900
the number reached
这就借
$900.
用了现在
US
热
dollars
播的一个纪录电影啊，名称
So
叫
based
做
on
厉害了，我的国。
This we can say is
所以我
very
们觉得
awesome
回顾这2017
results
年的
we
这个经济
achieved
呢，
in
可圈可
2017.
点之处很多。
We make a lot
我
of
认为最
good achievements
个人
in
认为最突出的可
2017.
能还有
For
观
myself,
察这
I
个形势啊，有4个方面可以
think there are
考虑。
4 areas.
一个就是平稳，
One is
1季度、2季度、
stable,
3季度、4季度
very
经济
stable
增长
performance.
速
So
度
back
都
to
是
the
6.9%，
Q1 to Q4, the growth rate
而且与
is
之相
all
关
around
的更像
6.9%.
实物量的指标，包
The
括发电量、
corresponding
包括运输量，
indicators like the power
包括我们还有
generation,
其
the
他的
transportation,
财政
and
收入
other financial
货
or
币
the
供应量
governmental
等等
revenue,
这相匹配的一
money
些指标
supply,
呢
all
都是
the
非常的平稳
matching
的这种发展。
indicators
这
are
表明了
all
中国
in
经
the
济
same
它有一
pace,
个良好的这种
which
协同
reflects
性
that
整体
China's
性。
economy
第二个
developed in a
很重要的
very
特点呢，就是
coordinated
我们去年的供
way.
给侧结构性改革力度
Talk
非
about
常
the
之大。
supply side reform, we made
但是
further
波澜不惊。
highways. Of course,
你看这
there are
个
a lot of
在
challenges.
在结构调整上，表现出
Talk
来
about the
新
supply
兴
side
产业，
reform or
特
the
别是
structural
现代服务
reform,
业
the
的发展，
emerging industry
速度非常
or the tertiary
它对经济
industry
的贡
reached a
献
very
的
high growth
增
rate.
长贡
The
献率已经达
contribution
到了
to
58.8%。
the GDP reached
那么这就使我们第三产业
8.8%. So the tertiary
跨过了
industry,
在三产当中的比重跨过了50%，
Among
达到了51.9%。
3 industries have
同时呢，我
another
们那个
big increase.
其他的各项指标呢，增长速度也都比较好，所以这个结构性
So
调整
overall, we have a very
它是有
good
一个非常
results
大的
in all the
这种变
indicators.
化，但是
So we
经济
also can say
还
we
是
make
在
a
平
very
稳当中
encouraging
这种
achievement in structural reform.
再一个
That's
就是
based
去
on
年
our
的
stable
3去1
performance
降1补，这
in
是我们
economic
供给侧结构
development.
性
And
改革的
talking
而且还
about
是主要的内容，
our 5
今年也取得了
priorities
比较好的成绩。
has also reached a
在
very
那
good
个淘汰了落后的
progress
钢铁产能，
for
达到
DA
了5500
steel
万
capital
吨，
to
连
weight
同2016年的
cut.
6500万吨加在一起，两年我们
That's
化解
around
钢铁过剩产能是
The
1亿
cast steel
2000万
production
而且
capacity
基
we
本
cut
上全部
by
出清
more
了
than
地高钢。
170 million metric
这是
tons.
非常了不起。
That's the 1 year
钢铁
only,
行业
and
的
we
结
also
构
got
发
rid
生大
of
的变
the
化，
very
优势
low
优势
quality
产能得
steels.
到更好的发挥。
So we would want to
比如在
make
煤炭，
sure we better
去年化解
utilize
了
or
2
leveraging the
亿
good
5千万
quality
吨
of steel.
连同2016年化解了2亿9千万吨，那
And talking about the
实现了
coal production
5亿4千万吨煤。
capability, that's cut by
那南方
800 million
的
metric
9万吨
tons.
以下的煤矿基本上已经关停并转，北
And
方的
we
15万
start
吨
around low
年产15万
quality
吨
or the low
以下的这种小煤
productivity
矿也
coal
已经关停并转。
factories.
这就是优势
all
产能
closed.
有大型煤矿，它环
So
保条
we,
件
we
比较好的
put our
单
focus
位这个
on the
产出
factories or the
比较
companies
高的
that produce
这些优势产能呢，
good
它得到了很好的发挥
quality of coal
电力也是如此。
and steel.
煤
Same
电
for the
我们
power
那个去年
generation.
那个淘汰了一批
Last year we
30万吨千瓦以下的
got rid of
耗煤量比较大的
the
一些
very
煤电企业。
coal consumption,
同时
highly coal
根据
consumption
我们现在整个
factories.
电力的形势呢，还停了，缓了一批，加在一起呢，超过了6500万千。
Overall,
这个钢铁、煤
for
炭
the、coal, steel,
煤电这种那个
or
去
the
产能和
coal
防范煤电
burning
过剩的，这采取
power
了一些措施，
generations,
为
we
其他行
had
业
put a very big efforts in
进
this
行
regard,
下一步的结构性改革
and also cite
和供给侧结构性的改革呢，提供了一个示范样板，包
the
括
good
像平板玻
examples
璃
to
水泥
other sectors such as
还有
the cement
其他的
or
电
the
解锂
plant
等等
gases.
淘汰落后
We
的，关停
all
一批
got rid of
现在不
or
适合
shut down
未
the
来
low
发展需求的
productivity
大力发展一批新的，
factories.
这是在潜移默化当中，
And we put
波
our
澜不惊当
energies
中
in
实现了我们
the
很多
good
产业的
productivity or high
正在进
quality
行华丽转型。
factories.
我们相
We
信
are
这个
making
结
a
构
very good
改革会取得
transformation.
比较好的成绩。
I believe this
第三
will
个
also
方面呢，
produce a very good
这就是
results.
我们这个绿色发展，
Third,
去年也取
talking
得
about
了
the
很
green
大的成绩。
development, that's also
你
received
看
a
我们
very
这个
encouraging
单
results.
位 GDP 这个能耗
Per unit of
下降了，
GDP, the energy
3.7%.
consumption per unit of GDP
同时呢，现在其他
decreased
的
by
生态文明建设和环境
3.7%,
保护的力
and
度
ecological
空前
conservation and environmental protection all reached a fresh progress. So we have more blue air, lucid water, and lush mountains, all toward to a good environment. This is a steady progress. And number 4, based on all these efforts, last year we reached to 1 trillion. We talk about the around 13.51 million new urban jobs were created. This is a record high number among the previous 5 years because of innovation and business startups. So that provide a very good job opportunity to different age groups and to people with different education backgrounds. And we also lift the 12.89 million people out of poverty. That's not an easy task. Overall, all these make a very stable progress while pursuing a good progress. So we can tell China's economy enjoys a very good vitality with great potential for its very good sustainability and resilient. We have around 1.4 billion population with a growing middle income group. Talking about by country, China actually is the largest country with the largest population in middle income group. So that's also help us to create more enabled business environment. Right now, China's economy is better integrated into global pictures. At the global, facing China's fast growth market, they also would like to better integrate into Chinese economy. Under this context, for 2018, so the target for this year GDP is around 6.5%. I believe we can make it by all the efforts we will be made this year. Although, of course, there are a lot of deep-seated challenges or conflicts. In yesterday's report mentioned by Premier Li, we have 7 difficulties, around 20 small points. All of these is a requirement for us to solve these questions, to push the economy develop in a stable and healthy way. With Xi Jinping's thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era and implement into details the plans and strategies made by Central Economic Working Conference, with step by step, we will maintain the consumption with a very stable growth, with also the emerging industries thriving, as well as the tertiary industry, the consumption-driven growth will reach 60%. Talking about investment to the real economy, we work really hard in this regard, and we will release measures and strategies in this regard. Looking at the dynamism of economy and other indicators, this year our estimation is our investment in the weak links and real economies, and also the private companies or the private investment will be further expanded. So overall, these contributions to the GDP will be a good number. From 2008, after the financial crisis, if the global economy reached a stable and healthy recovery, China will keep our contribution to the global economy. And in Shanghai this year, we will have China's Imports Expo. this
深度融入
showcase
世界经济的这种决心。
China's decisive to better integrate it into the global economy, and China will open our door wider
我们有决心也有信
and
心，
also
把
show
中
our
国的
confidence
中等收入这种群体呢，
that the
它的
middle
消费水
income
平会有
group
新的提高，这种规模
they
消
will
费的
have
规模会有更
stronger
新的扩
disposable
大
income.
包括我们打好3大攻坚战之后，
And
这个
after we
贫
reach the
贫困
decisive
人口
victory in
还有
our
逐步
three
的
battles,
像
the
中等收
people
入
living
这方
in
面的
poverty,
迈
they
进，
will
所以中国未
further
来的这个消费市场的
make their
前景非常可
move
期，所以我们
towards
对
the
今年
middle income group.
实现6.5%
So
左右的
we
增
fully
长
believe
充满
we
信心
can reach the number of 6.5% growth in
谢谢
GDP.
另外
Thank you.
东区第3排的第3位，那个女士。
谢谢主持人，我是齐鲁晚报齐鲁1点记者。大家都很关心乡村振兴战略，但我们注意到，不少地区农村空心化问题突出，对这些地方而言，实现乡村振兴压力很大。我们了解到，国家发改委正在牵头编制乡村振兴战略规划，请问规划是否会涉及这些问题？谢谢。
With Qilu Evening, many people have a big interest in the rural revitalization strategy. We've noted that some villages have been hollowed out, making it difficult to realize the strategy. We've also learned that the NDRC is formulating a rural revitalization strategic plan. Can this plan help solve those problems? Thank you.
谢谢。这个问题我讲请我的
Thank
同
you.
事张勇。
I would like to invite 张勇 to answer your question.
昨天总理的政府工作报告
Yesterday in Premier Lee's working report, we set out the 9 key tasks regarding the social and economic development in 2018, one of them regarding the rural revitalization.
党的19大呢提出了
The party's 19th National Congress also mentioned the rural revitalization and also included into the party constitution. And in number 1 document released by the central government, we also have the further detailed plan in this regard. That's under the strong leadership of the party central committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, had the overarching plan for the future development in this regard. And the principal contradiction right now is between people's ever-growing needs for a happy life and inadequate and imbalanced economic development. So we're talking about the imbalance and inadequate development that's in the rural area. We just celebrated the Chinese New Year. We had a very wide coverage about the migrant workers back home to reunion with their families. And they carry a lot of products back home. We have the 200 million people work in other areas. A lot of them is in a very young age. So we talk about a lot of areas in rural areas, basically left over elderly people and children. So that's also create this hollow situation. So this reflects the imbalance and inadequate development in rural areas. So we talk about modernized agricultural and rural area modernization is crucial to the country's development. So we also want to solve these urgent issues. To better implement the rural revitalization, we should have a well-designed top structure. So under this framework, we should have set up our priorities and our steps towards action plan. The NDRC with other related departments right now is formulating a rural revitalization strategic plan for the next 5 years. So we follow the guidance by the concept of the happy life in the rural areas, and other requirements we put into our actions in different projects. We make sure we have a very good kickoff of the plan. So we talk about the upgrading of the rural areas to develop people's life in rural areas in a coordinated and integrated way. And in the next 5 years, for the political, economic, social, cultural development, we already set out the policies and the measures in these regards. Our key focus is following 3 areas. Number 1, we will formulate the new development form, so talk about the whole, the integrated plan to upgrading the work, life, and ecological environment, to have our plan in the rural and urban coordinated plan. And we also have the different route towards these goals. Because in the rural area, there are quite different situations in different areas. So for our plan, we should set our plan or have the custom-made plan for each rural areas. Second, we focus on revitalization to speed up our pace in agricultural modernization. We set up the framework in this regard to further push the progress in this regard, and also enrich the culture life in the rural area and improve the well-being. And third, we should give further support, because talking about the rural area includes a very wide range of areas as well as a very large population. Different areas have different situations. We have 3 years to tackle these problems. A lot of population live under the poverty line in the rural areas. So people, capitals all need further support. So we give support in the talent pools. We need people to roll out these plans. And of course, the land reform as well. Besides the central government budget, we also need private investment and the capitals. So we make sure we have all the factors ready to roll out our revitalization strategic plan. Of course, it's a long-term effort. It's need continuous work in this regard. We should step by step first have a very well-designed plan, and then we will have a very detailed execution based on the central government's requirement as well as our time frames. Thank you.
请继续提问。东区第2排的这位女士，第2位。
谢谢主持人，我是中央人民广播电台的记者。那我们注意到，在前些天，新闻报道了中央政治局常委会召开会议，听取河北雄安新区规划编制情况的信息，但不是很详细。那么想请问，能否透露一下雄安新区规划建设方面的更多信息？下一步还将重点搞好哪些方面的建设？另外，也有消息称，中英呢将合作共建雄安金融城，这是否属实？何时落地？谢谢。
With China National Radio, it is reported that the Standing Committee of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee held a meeting recently to hear a briefing on the formulation of the Xiong'an New Area Development Plan. The report didn't reveal more details. Could you please share with us more information about the plan and development of Xiong'an New Area? What will be the priorities for the next stage? In addition, we've learned that China and the UK will work together to carry out a financial and technology city project in Xiong'an. Can you confirm that? And if so, when will the project start? Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you.
这个2月22号呢，习近平总书记
On February
召开
22nd,
中央政治局常委会议，那么审
had
议
the
了雄安新
standing
区规
committee
划纲要。
of the
这标志着
CPC Central Committee
雄安新
meetings
区的规划
conducted
建设呢，
presided by
将进入一个新的发展阶段。
Comrade Xi Jinping, and we set out our goals to
去
further
年的
develop the
4月1
Xiong'an
号呢，
new
中共
area.
中央国务院
April 1st
发
last
布
year,
了关于设
Party
立雄安
Central
新区的
Committee
这个决定。
released
那个时候到
the
现在
decision
呢
on further develop the Xiong'an new
雄安
area.
新区的规划建设呢，应该是在稳步推进。
Right now, the
这几个
progress
主要表现
is in a
一个
steady
就是
way.
设立了精干
First,
高效
we
的，
had a very
办
high
事机构
effective
就是组建了雄安
working
新
organs.
区
We
党
have
工委
Xiong'an
党会，合
new
在一起它
area
的内设机构
management
呢
teams.
总共只有7个。
We have 7
那么中
departments
央
under
组织部
it.
呢，在全国遴选了一批
We
优秀人才
selected
到雄安新区
a
工作，
talent
这个在经过为推
to
进今
work
后
for
雄安
Xiong'an
新区
new
的建设
area.
提供了很好的这种
So
组
it
织
provides
人才
a
的
very good foundation for the development of Xiong'an
第二
new
个呢，就
area.
是组
Second,
织了12个
we
在国
organized
内外属于顶尖的一流的
12
规划设计团队，
world-class
对雄安新区的
design teams from home and abroad
规划纲要进行了反反复复的
to work back and
这个
forth
打磨，几十次的这种修改。
the plan
那现在
or the
已经
strategic
基本
plan
完
for
成了。
Xiong'an new
中央
areas.
政治局常委
Right
会
now,
已
it's
经
almost finished,
严正的审议，已经通过
and
这个消息已经
already
电视报道大家都
dilapidated
看到
and approved the
第
plan.
三个呢，就
I
是
believe
对
the media already
基
covered
本上
this news.
符合未来这种
Third
要出台的规划纲要要求的一些重大
To match with
基础设施项目，
the plan,
看得见摸得着，
a group of projects
各方面没有异议，对今后雄安新区的发展是有利的，所以一些项目呢开始启动。
that conducive
比如说
to the development
2
of
月
Xiong'an new
28
area
号
right
呢
now
就已
already
经
kicked
启动
off.
建设了北京到雄
So
安
February 2nd,
新区
we
的
already
城
started
际铁路，
the
这已经开工
railway
标志
between
着
Beijing and the Xiong'an new area that's already
它的重
started.
大基础设施项目呢
for
雄安新区拉
constructions.
开了它的建设
So that's
规划建设
also
序幕。
opened
还
the
有去
chapter
年冬天、今年
of
春天，
construction of the
这个
Xiong'an
雄
new
安新区
area.
呢大规模的
By
进
the
行
end
了
of last year and beginning of this year,
造林，
we
这个
also
力度
start to
力度也是空前的，还有等等其他的一些。
grow the forest.
第三一个呢，就是他那个做的很大的一个工作呢，就是进一步统一
And
了
the third
雄安
way-
新区各级干部群众的这个思想认识，所以大家对要建
Further
设高
strengthen
标准的雄
people's
安新区，按照世界眼
Understanding.
光、国际标准，这个
So we should build the
中国
Xiong'an
特
new
色
area
高点
with
站
the
位这
China's
么个要求
characteristics,
来规划
but with
建
the
设
international
雄安新区，
horizons.
大家都有高度的共识，所以
So we
雄安新区
highly
的
achieve the
土地的
same
管控和其他方面的这个措施呢，实行的都比较平稳
understandings
顺利
on further
得到
develop the
了
Xiong'an new areas.
广大干部群众的理解和支持，这就为
So
雄安新
the
区未来要打造
public
一个
officers
新
and
发展
also
理念
the
的
society
这个示范
have
区
the same
贯彻落实
understanding
新发展
has
理念的
also
示
helped
范
to
区呢
further smooth
都会创
our
造一个
work
很好的这种
to
条件
develop
和环
Xiong'an
境
area.
那么下一步呢，
So
我们
for
可
our
以根
next
据
step,
中央的党中央最后审定的这个规划纲要，
so based
来
on
稳
this
步的
strategic
扎
plan,
实的
we will
有力
make
有
our
序有效的
solid and
来推
steady
动雄安新区
progress
的规划
in
建
an
设。
orderly way
一个呢，就是还要
to
进一步
develop
完善
Xiong'an area.
雄安
We'll
新区的
further improve
规划，
the
因为它
plan.
是千年大计，国家大事，
The plan
所以要把整个规
regards
划
a
的覆盖到
very
整个
big
新
and
区，
great
特别
project.
是近期呢，要把雄安新区的起步区、
And
启动区的规划，
We will first work
控
on
制
the
性相规、
plan
修建性
on
相规呢，要覆盖到每个
the
街区，
first
甚至
group
每
of
寸
projects that should
弄好了，
detail to
久
even
久为功，
every
一步
road
步地
and
建设。
street. And we
这
will
项工作呢
execute the
正在
plan
抓紧在推进。第二个呢，
in a very detailed way.
国家发改委
And
在会
second,
同相关部门
NDRC
和
with
河
the
北方
other
面
departments and the
正在抓
Hebei
紧
governments
组织编制呢，这个指导雄安新区
to
规划建设的
formulate
一些综合性的意见、综合性的
the
指导意见，
suggestions on
这个
how
将
to roll out the plan.
汇聚了相关的一些政策。
So these
这
will
个政策呢
include
是应该
a
应该
rest of
是
projects
就是表明中国
and
现
the
在
strategies
深化改革
as well as
具体内涵
policies
扩大
as
开放
regarding the
都在雄安新区呢
explanation
要汇
of
聚在一起。
further
它
opening
搞
up and
政策划
deepening
定但是
reforms.
已经在中国广袤大地上已经实行的
So that's
改革和
already
开放的措施，在雄安新区呢要积极地
existing reform policies that should be further rolled out in Xiong'an areas. All of
扎实
all,
有效地推动
we
雄
want
安新
to
区的规划建设。同时呢，
make solid
在谋划
steps
就是怎么打造
in developing Xiong'an new
形
area
成
and how
雄安质
to
量体系。
build up
现
the
在正在
quality system in Xiong'an
研究这个
area. Right
深
now,
入
we
研
are
究这个问
working
题
in this
这个包
regard,
括规划建设
talking
和今
about
后
the
落地
plan,
的项目，
construction,
还
the
包括它的
projects to
工
roll
艺、
out,
材料等等，
supplied
要形成一个
materials.
比较
All
科
of
学
these are in our
规范的
consideration.
一
Want
个
to have
雄安质量体系，
a
今后呢
standardized
向
and
全国各
scientific
地
plan.
能够推广。
So
复
later
制
on, this plan can also be
这是
rolled out
第三
to other
这是
areas around China.
第三个呢，
And
就是
third,
对看得见摸得着的一些项目符合
for
规
the
划要求
tangible
的项目，
products
抓
that
紧的组织实施。
meet
包括它
our
的路
requirements,
水
we should
路电气
speed up
还有包括
the
那个
rollout
白洋
of
淀的
these
整治
projects.
白洋淀是华北之胜，360 公里。
Bangdian is a very important place, so we should put our energies into
有利有
better
序
manage
有
this
效的
area.
要组织清一，还要构筑防洪堤坝，
So we should build up the necessary
然后在适当
infrastructure
必要的
constructions
这个饮水，保持呢
and solve
白洋淀
people's drinking
原有
water
的
issues,
这种历史风貌和它的这种现有的这种华北之胜的功能。
electricity
等等
supply
这些
issues.
看得见的、摸得着的一些重大项目呢，将稳步推进。
So
第四一个
these
呢
big projects
设立
will roll out in
雄
an
安新
orderly
区的
way.
初心，
And number four, we'll
当时
state
就是
our
为了疏解
remain our
北京飞速
aspirations. Why we want to build up
符
Xiong'an?
合
Because we want
高质量
to
发展要求的一
reduce
些
the
北京非首
burden
都功能呢，
in Beijing. So anything that's non-capital
深入研
functions,
究，逐
we
项
will
的
categorize them, make a priority list,
这个
and step by
转移
step, we will move these non-capital functions to
建设呢，在
Xiong'an
这个过程
area.
当中，雄安新区本身也会得到高质量
During
的
the
这种发展。
process, we believe that also will bring a high quality development to Xiong'an area. Regarding the question you asked about the China-UK financial and technology city project,
我还是第一次听说。
that's the first time I heard
上次
this.
那个英国首相梅首相来的时候呢，有
It's time when Theresa May paid a visit to China,
相信他
she
们
mentioned
方
about
面应该
this.
会跟看看
I believe
那个英国方面呢，应该会
maybe a further discussion will be conducted between China and the
英国的
UK.
金融城呢是世界比较知名的
We believe because UK have a very famous
设施啊，还有它的管理
and
管控经验
good
呢
management and construction
雄安新区
experience in
在
this regard.
主要承接疏解北京非首都功能这个功能这个
Because
重任的
one
时候
of
呢
the key
也是对
role
外
for
开放
Xiong'an area
是
is
开
to
放的态度
further
所以我们
open
也
our door
向
to the
他们
outside
欢迎
world,
非常欢迎的世界各国
and we are very
符合
welcome
北京疏解北京非首都功能这些又符合高质量发展
the
要求的一些
other
项目
countries who would
能够
like to
到
participate
雄安新区去
or
落
carry out the
地。谢谢。
projects meet our
谢谢，
requirements
请继续提问。
can roll out in Xiong'an area. Thank you.
中区第五排那位男士，哎，
谢谢主持人。凤凰卫视记者提问：今年是中国改革开放40周年，40年以来，外资在中国的经济社会发展当中，应该说是做出了相当大、相当重要的一个贡献。在去年的话，外资在中国吸引的外资的规模也是创下了历史新高。但是有一些外资企业抱怨说，中国现在的一些吸引外资的环境发生了变化，不如以前了。不知道发改委方面如何去看？下一步中国政府方面还会采取哪些措施来吸引外资？谢谢。
With Phoenix TV, this year marks the 40th anniversary of the launch of reform and opening up. In the past 40 years, foreign investment has played an important role in China's economic and social development. Last year, inward foreign investment hit a new all-time high. Meanwhile, some foreign investors are complaining about the changes in foreign investment climate here. What is your response to them? And what measures will the Chinese government take to attract more foreign investment? Thank you.
谢谢。这个问题我请
Thank you.
我们的同事宁记者。
I will invite Deputy Director Ning Jingzhe to answer your question.
怎么看待这个问题啊？我想
Thank you.
3句话吧。
I would like to answer your question in 3 sentences. Number 1,
这个引资的成效 是显著的。
We make
正像你刚才提到。
a solid progress in attracting foreign investment. As you mentioned, last year the inward foreign investment
达到了
reached
1,310亿美元，对吧？居世界第2。
1.3 billion US dollars, ranked number 2 around the world. With the 40 years of reform and opening up in China, foreign investments played a very crucial role in China's economic development. Talking about imports and exports, foreign companies takes up 50% of the total imports and exports. And for the industrial production value, they take up around 25%. And talking about taxations, they contribute 20% of the total. And for job creativity, they provide 10%. And China's faster economic growth also provide very good opportunity to the foreign companies to reach a win-win situation. That's my first sentence. Second, China's policies keeping improved in this regard. Why we reached a good result, as I just mentioned, thanks to our work done in keeping opening to the outside world and the policies. In the recent years, we unveiled very effective policies against the background of prominent and challenging global financial situations. And the State Councils also released 2 important documents in this regard. One is the measures on actively utilizing foreign investment, and also to better utilize and attract the foreign investment. That's 2 very important documents released last year. That's rare to see in the previous years. So all of these, as more than 40 measures to create an enabling business environment. And we also released a negative list for market access. For 2015 and 2017, we revised the categories for the guidance of foreign investment, and we reduced the barriers by 65%. Right now, you can see 96% of foreign investment, they do not need to register in Beijing, they just register locally where they do their business. And we also talk about the same treatment, so talking about the Made in China 2025 policies and the same treatment regarding technologies for the government procurement. We all give the same treatment to home and abroad companies. According to the United Nations survey right now, China still ranks number 2 of the most attractive foreign investment destination. And also the United States survey in this regard, 76% of their members believe China's environment is improving and stable. So this is the mainstream thoughts. And third, we keep improving the investment environment. It is clear that we work on this regard and that also need our further efforts. We should also release the more strategies in this regard. Based on the party's 19th National Congress and the Central Economic Working Meetings, as well as the working report delivered by Premier Li yesterday, we should create a high-quality environment that will bring a high-quality development. attractive environment and to create a very good destination for foreign investment in order to have a very stable increase in this regard. So we have 3 jobs to do this year. Number 1, we should further expand market access. 2018, NDRC with other state government departments will further revise the negative market access list. So we will also roll out the list to the areas in China and increase the tertiary industry access and the general manufacturing sectors. We should expand or cancel restrictions on foreign investment or the business scope. Second, we'll make further steps in the investment facilitations. And we will simplify the registration process and profiling process. We'll simplify the administration approval process as well as the other approval process, and also cut the time required for custom clearance. And we will give a fair competition field to the companies home and abroad, and also protect intellectual property rights. And we'll also formulate the policies and legislations in this regard. Third, we will attract a wider range of foreign investment, especially to the central and northwest regions, and to the foreign companies. They will enjoy the governmental preferential support in land and capitals who would like to move to the central or northwest regions. And we'll also have the further preferential investment, foreign investment policies. And we'll also encourage them to reinvest their profits earned in China. And we'll also give the appropriate taxation policies.
And there you have the first 43 minutes of the NDRC press conference, where we had the chairman and vice chairman of the NDRC taking questions from the media. So let's now bring in our studio guest, Mr. Xu Sitao, chief economist at Deloitte China. Welcome to the show. We've been sitting through the 4 answers and 4 questions, of course, but I guess the most pertinent one is the first one about China's growth target this year for GDP, which is 6.5%, which many say could be a stretch because China is also trying to cut pollution and also trying to rein in, the excess credit that has been the problem in the past. So how is that going to, retain growth at 6.5%?
下一步还要搬多少人？另外，如何能够确保群众搬得出、留得住？谢谢您。
With CCTV, I'm interested in efforts to reduce poverty through relocation. We've noted that some people feel reluctant to move or find the relocation too costly, and some have even moved back after relocation. What is your take on this? How many more poor people will be relocated for the next stage? And how to ensure that they're willing to move and happy to stay in the relocated places? Thank you.
好，谢谢。这个异地福音搬迁呢，是我们
Thank you for this relocation, and poverty alleviation is the top priority of China's poverty alleviation work. In 2015 November, the Central Committee has set the goal in the 13th five-year plan to integrate the war of poverty alleviation. The data are mainly collected by the end of 2014. Back then, there were about 72 million impoverished population. 10 million out of which are in a very specially impoverished area. So after the research of the Central Committee, the government initiated relocation as central settlement for this population. So the target of the relocation is in this impoverished area where they cannot be independently fed. It's mainly in the Tibet and southern Xinjiang Autonomous Region, and also Ningxiang and Liangshan in Sichuan. These are impoverished areas. Except for these areas, there are other 10 extremely impoverished areas. So for this relocation targets is about 10 million people. The standard is firstly to guarantee the food and clothes and the housing and schooling. Of course, it's not for the very fancy houses. For per capita, it's 25 meters for housing. That's the basic standard. And for other people who cannot feed themselves at their hometown, they can also enjoy the public infrastructure offered by the government. That's the shared housing. This is also the reciprocity for people. And in China's poverty alleviation history, this is tremendous. This is unprecedented. And it's also unprecedented in the world. Under the leadership of the party and the efforts, we have made this achieved. And for the ways of relocation, we mainly adopt that the Central Committee leads. The Central Committee leads and guide. In terms of policy, relocation is the type, poverty alleviation is the aim. In order to achieve poverty alleviation by relocation, the central government has raised capital, raised a fund of 600 billion yuan. And many of the funds are from the Central Fiscal Department, and also to transfer the short-term loan of the local provincial level government to long-term loan. Also, the interests are supplemented by the central government for 90%, and the central bank will together to shoulder the 350 billion yuan loan. And third, to investigate and supervise about the process in order to identify the risks and move them back on track. Because these areas are already very poor, we cannot input more burden on them by establishing houses. We wouldn't want to put pressure on them by building new houses. So we establish new platform and organize relevant the plans for the cross-region relocation, and also to implement it. We encourage, we advocate the people, advocate every household to the targeted relocation area. After efforts, by 2016, we have launched another new round of relocation. And before that, we finished about 2 million population. And just now I reported the content I reported from 2016. It's in 2016 we've achieved 2 million relocation, and in 2017 it's over 3 million, and this year's target is 2.8 million people. If we can finish the set target this year, we can basically finish the whole project. And President Xi, during the Spring Festival, went to Liangshan in Sichuan province, where it's prepared for relocation, and also conducted the scenic inspection, and also appraised and appreciated their work there. On 12th of February this year, President Xi joined the meeting of poverty alleviation in Sichuan province and also highlighted the measures. The first is to consolidate the current progress, to consolidate the poverty alleviation of the past population, and to guarantee the health insurance and schooling. We need to include ecological poverty alleviation, health and education poverty alleviation. And also need to consider more aspects for the following population who will be relocated. By 2020, we will set up annual goals, and it is estimated by next year we can basically accomplish this project. Just now, Deputy Zhang answered one journalist's questions mentioning the rural revitalization strategy. We also need to push ahead this strategy in order to improve the development in rural areas and also to help them ushering richer livelihood. And there are difficulties and complexities during the process. Every year, we conduct a scenic inspection, on-site inspection over these problems. In some areas, we found problems, and we will immediately stop it and prevent it from becoming heavier and stronger problems. Thank you.
对。
谢谢。我是路透社的记者，就是想问一个关于去产能的问题。近2年我们这个去产煤炭跟钢铁去产能取得了比较明显的这个效果。当然呢，我们也听到一些声音，就是某些地方在这个去产能的过程里出现了一些过急的行为，就是有些这个合法手续的企业也被关停，强行关停了哈。我们就是问一下您对这个有怎样的一个回应？另外，我们今年这个钢铁、煤炭去产能会哪些举措？另外，是不是连带谈一下这个电解锂去产能的问题？谢谢。
With Reuters, my question is about cutting overcapacity. In the past couple of years, strong efforts have been made to cut excess steel and coal capacity. But some people say that some moves are too hasty. For example, even factories that comply with relevant standards have been shut down as well. What is your view on this? What measures will be taken to cut excess capacity in steel, coal, and electrified aluminum this year? Thank you.
好，谢谢。这个问题我想请我们记者同志回答。
好，刚才去产能的问题啊，
Thank
大家
you.
都比较关心。
Director Zhizhe will answer this question in terms of cutting capacity.
When Mr. He talked about the economic status quo of last year and this year, he mentioned that cutting over capacity is our top priority in terms of our supply side structural reform, and we have achieved a lot. Over the past 5 years, we have cut over 710 million tons of capacity in terms of steel, and 800 million tons of coal, 145 million tons of coal electricity. We mentioned about coal-fired electricity. We also have run out of 65 million of coal-fired electricity. The total efficiency is effectively improved. The market competition order has been disciplined. What's more, the national economy's supply and demand balance has been achieved. I'm sure all of you have already noticed that. Last year, the NDRC will uphold to the market and also the disciplinary of the transition, and to uphold the core role of market, it's the key in terms of cut over capacity. With regard to the financial input from the cut over capacity, we're dependent on the market and also have some supply from the central government. Second, when talk about the optimizing of enterprises' debt and also disciplines, we will also be dependent on the market. With regard to the quality and the safety of the cutting over capacity and continuously cutting over the shortcoming capacities, we will try to make the shortcoming capacities be cut out without compromising the strength capacity. And that is the basic fundamental to our strategy. Just now you mentioned that some of the enterprises or some of the conduct did not go with the disciplined cutting over capacity. As soon as we found that out, we will try to correct that conduct. And for some severe conditions, we will address to the law. For this year, we will uphold to the decisions with the Central Committee of CPC and try to address the issue in 4 aspects. First, we will continuously cut down the ineffective supply. In 2018, we will continuously cut over around 30 million tons of coal fire and shut down, run out the installed unit that is less than 30 kilowatt. Second, we will try to optimize the structure and coordinate and optimize the structure of supply and demand, and try to structurally cut over the capacity and optimize the strength capacity, and facilitate a healthy development of steel, coal-fired, and other industries. We will also set out effective measures to guarantee the price in a reasonable range. We would try to utilize some market tools to optimize the structure. Third, change and reform. We would try to push forward the shortcoming and shortboarding enterprises in this industry and try to introduce those shortcoming enterprises to withdraw the market. And we would try to set the government as the directory role with the market as the main practice, so that to make the key enterprises as the core. And the fourth is about the staff settlement. We would try to utilize the appropriation from the central government and try to settle those staff from the shortcoming enterprises. Last few years, we have already settled more than 1 million of employees from those enterprises, with the mass entrepreneurship and innovation undergoing in China. And we will also introduce those staff and employees to go to this direction. Last is about the risk control, and also have differentiated policy so that to utilize the market's role. Just now, Mr. He also mentioned about the cut over capacity in this industry, and he mentioned that we need to always go in line with the laws. In this regard, the target is not set out by the government, but rather by the industrial associations on the basis of the regulations and laws, and also on the industrial codes and conducts, so that to orderly push forward to the disciplinary of the cutting over capacity. We have made some great achievement, and also a lot of raw materials, construction materials development has been pushing forward, and we will continue to do so. Thank you.
经济日报、中国经济网、经济日报新闻客户端的记者，人无信不立，事无信不成。那么近年来呢，这个国家发改委对这个社会诚信信用体系建设这一块呢，下了很大的功夫，那做了很多具体的工作。包括定期发布社会失信惩戒信息等等，但是我们也注意到，就是目前整个社会啊，在失信方面的问题呢，相对来说还是比较突出的。比如说有些地方呢，发生了这种教科书式的老赖这样的一些事件，那么引发了媒体广泛的关注。我的问题是，下一步国家发改委在这个信用体系建设方面会有哪些措施，让这个失信者真的这个寸步难行，让守信者一路绿灯？谢谢。
With Economic Daily, we are aware that credibility is very important for the success of a person, and we have noted that in recent years, the NDRC has taken concrete measures to further improve the social credit environment in China. For example, it has regularly published information on the punishment of dishonest behaviors. However, dishonesty is still a serious problem in the society, as we can see in some serious violation cases in some places in this country. So what is your take on the credit environment in China? What measures will be taken to further improve the environment in this field? Thank you.
好，谢谢。这个问题呢，我请我们的同事张勇同志回答。
好，谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
实际上，现在我们
My Deputy Director, Mr. Zhang Yong, will answer this question. Thank you for your question. Actually, for every person in every day, we are communicating with credit. Without credit, the market economy cannot go smoothly. And this is the subjective principle of market economy. Honesty is the ethic of China's history. In order to complete China's market economy system, especially to give full play to the role of market and to promote China's modern management, we need to step up with the complete credit system. To create a favorable social credit environment, the Central Committee of the CPC highlighted this greatly. In 2014, there was a guideline of social credit system establishment between 2014 to 2020. And it also writes punishment. In order to implement this, NDRC and the Bank of People and other units will together play its role respectively. First, in the completing and establishing of the law and the legislation and the standardization, we will further enhance all the policies. And we have standardized the code of the social credit to 18 digits. In the past, the social credit codes were various from different departments, and now it's unified. Meanwhile, we also initiated punishments and awards. By far, the whole country's credit online system has been set up together with other 44 departments from provincial and city level, and also over 60 relevant private-owned enterprises. We have shared information to expose the information and to publicize the information, and also to expose the results of the punishment in order to give full play of its function of this credit shared platform. We, together with relevant department in terms of taxation and business and the safety of drugs and food, we have formed over 36 mechanisms for awards and punishment, which are in charge of different departments, but it's led by NDRC. We need to make efforts together. So far, the information shared platform have played its role greatly. The many departments are active in this process. And it mainly played two roles. First is to serve the government in terms of administration, like to promote the streamlining of administration and delegating power, and also management. And there are different levels of the performance of the administration and also about the bidding and the purchasing of the government. This system also contributed a lot. And for the information which can be shared to public, is also exposed on this platform. So far, there were over 400 million people have visited this website. And for people dishonest behavior and dishonest people, their information are also exposed on this website, and they are restricted of buying air tickets. It's about 9 million people. And for people who cannot buy the first class ticket on train are about 3 million people. And this platform also helps safeguard the economic industry, contribute to the safety of loans. And there were over 6,000 companies have been removed from the candidate lists of lending money from the government. In my opinion, this credit system really played a big role, although it's very new. It received widespread welcome in society. It's still at its initial stage, and next we will focus on 4 aspects. First, to continuously complete the lawful system and the standards, because finally the target are enterprises and the people. We need to be targeted, which can only be guaranteed by laws and standards. And second, to further improve the levels of information publicizing. We collect information in order to publicize it. As we have finished the first stage of this information sharing platform, we will continue the second stage. Third, to further enhance the punishment procedure in order to make the dishonest behavior published and also to award others. The media also reported some people cannot take airplanes or cannot buy train tickets, and we need to make sure of this. Just now we mentioned there were controversial words. Some dishonest people asked why, after they paid the money back, they still cannot buy air tickets. There needs time, because it takes time of the information submitting. So we need to standardize this process also. And fourth is to strengthen the building of honesty civilization. As honesty is China's ethical tradition, everyone needs to be honesty and to keep their promise. We need to create and improve this social credit environment together with the works of the society. Thank you.
China Arab TV 中阿卫视记者提问。前段时间中国有一些地区出现了气荒问题，我们想了解中国在冬季天然气保供长期方案上有什么考虑？谢谢。
With China Arab TV, last winter saw a natural gas shortage in some places. My question is, what kind of measures will be taken to build a long-term mechanism for natural gas supply in China? Thank you.
谢谢。我刚才再核实一下，是不是讲天然气？因为这个
Thank you. was clarifying whether you're talking about natural gas. During the winter of last year to the spring of this year, heat supply, especially from December of last year, in some areas, especially in the north area of China, the supply of natural gas was very intense. And the reason, the moment we identified this issue, attentions from the Central Committee of CPC was drawn, and a specialized meeting on this issue was convened twice. And the supply of natural gas was asked each day. As a result, NDRC will coordinate it with the stakeholders in the private sector to ensure natural gas supply in the key regions. We cooperated with these enterprises closely so that to address the problems you mentioned about the supply of natural gas. Today it's the 6th of March and the temperature is warming. We can see that over the past few months, the supply of natural gas has gone through an intellectual phase. During the days when the supply of natural gas is very shorted, we noticed institutional problems in the supply of natural gas. According to the spirit of President Xi Jinping, we will coordinate with all stakeholders, try to push forward the production, supply, and consumption of natural gas. And we will try to address this problem in the short term, middle term, and long term. One of the key measures, we will have in-depth look and try to utilize the role of market as well as the role of government. Try to address and push forward the institutional innovation step by step. And we will strengthen and improve also optimize our market control. Second, we will also use all methods to organize the production. Last year, 23 million of square meters of natural gas was supplied. That represents a huge increase, and that is also a record high, which also reminds us that the production of natural gas on the basis of safety guarantee has been increasing. In the meanwhile, we will also need to effectively organize the research and development of hydraulic gas and also other new forms of gas, so that to guarantee the supply of natural gas, and also try to ensure the stable and steady supply of natural gas so that to meet with the demand of our people, especially during the winter times. Second, on the supply side, we need to strengthen our cooperation with neighbor countries, including the countries in the Middle Asia and also in Asia-Pacific countries. And we need to establish a closer cooperation in terms of natural gas supply with these countries, so that we can ensure the supply of natural gas in our country. Combined with the import of natural gas with our domestic supply, on the basis of last year's supply, I'm sure our demand and supply the demand will be increasing this year. Third, in terms of the store of natural gas, we will need to further enhance the construction of infrastructure. We will try to go step by step and call for the joint effort in various areas in China. And we will try to relocate the natural gas from the south to the north. Last is about the store capability. Currently, China did the best. Now its store capability, it's ranked at the first in China. With the leading role of China, the store capacity of Shanghai can meet with the demand of 10 days in its city demand. We will also take measures to push forward the store capability building, and we will try to make the store capability of the enterprises to 3 to 5 days. Currently, the average level is about 16 days, and we will try to meet up with that level. In this regard, we will also utilize the market role so that to boost the capability building. Last is about the sales channel. We will also try to push forward the institutional reform and also the gas supply mechanism reform. We will try to push forward the reform in a reasonable opportunity. We will try to cut down the non-civilian use gas to ensure the supply of natural gas to the civilian use. In this regard, we will make more and more effort. We will also try to make more effort into the natural gas relocation, especially that mainly rely on the state-owned enterprises, and try to delegate the responsibilities to the local level. During contingency occasions, short supply of natural gas must be addressed. Heat supply in the critical conditions is vital to the people's livelihood. The unbalanced supply and unbalanced development issue will be addressed. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，我是深圳卫视的记者。那么大家都非常关心营商环境的问题。就在2017年呢，习近平总书记在中央财经领导小组上工作会议上就强调啊，北上广深等特大城市要率先加大对营商环境的改革力度。就在今年年初呢，我所在的深圳市也是出台了加大营商环境改革的20条举措。那么我也了解到呢，目前国家发改委正在牵头制定这个全国版的市场准入的负面清单。那么我想请问发改委在今年将会对这些工作有一些什么进一步的部署？下一步呢，对于进一步的优化营商环境、推进放管服的改革，还会有哪些举措？谢谢。
With Shenzhen TV, the business environment is of big interest for many people. In the meeting of the Central Leading Group on Financial and Economic Work in 2017, President Xi Jinping pointed out that it is important to further strengthen the business environment in major cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. In Shenzhen, the city where I come from, we have adopted a 20-point regulation on further improve the business environment. And we have also learned that the NDRC is leading efforts to make a nationwide negative list for market access. What will the NDRC do in this field this year? And what measures will be taken to deepen reforms, to streamline administration, delegate powers, enhance regulation, strengthen services, and improve the business environment? Thank you.
谢谢。我这个问题有请我们记者同志。
好，正像你刚才所指出，这个营商环境问题啊，是社会上，国际上。
Deputy Director Wang will answer this question. Just like you said, the business environment is of great concern both from China and the world. Under the leadership of Xi Jinping and the CPC Central Committee, as he personally led the Central Leading Group of Financial and Economic Work Conference. Also, in yesterday's work report, the major content was to optimize the business environment in order to revolve and reform the business and the entrepreneurship environment. NDRC will follow the implementation of the State Council and the Central Committee of the CPC. This year, we will continue to offer more convenience for the people and enterprises and continue to integrate the vigor of the market. We will mainly focus on the following 4 aspects. First, to fully implement the market access system. NDRC will work with the relevant departments and to implement the all-round market access negative list publicizing and continue to remove these negative listed names. Second, to further streamline administration, reduce taxation for the enterprises, taxation and other property registration. We will streamline the administration to reduce the redundant process and to reduce the taxation in order to ease the burden of the enterprises. And also we will cancel the service tax of the business. These are all highlighted. And annually we will reduce more than 800 billion yuan of taxation. In total, we will reduce 1.1 trillion yuan. Second, to strictly follow the various types of property in terms of law. Even if there is transition of the government officials, we need to make sure all these problems from the enterprises are solved. And in terms of the equality and the standardization, the policy are strict. Fourth, to step up with the elevation mechanism for the business environment and to push ahead the ways of elevation assessment, and in order to change the current situation to a favorable business environment, and also to innovate the new type of business environment, just like the negative list, in order to optimize the business environment. For our nation, for the major cities like Shenzhen, in the optimization of business environment, the giant cities have already implemented policies. And for city to city, region to region, the business environment already have a subjective assessment system. We need to unify and coordinate this assessment mechanism, and also from country to country. We should communicate and work together to offer the favorable business environment for the entrepreneurs and the people, to offer convenience to their life and work, and also to add to a vigorous economy. Thank you. Due to time limits, this will be the last question.
中国日报记者，还是一个关于经济增长的一个问题。根据19大报告，中国经济已经从高速发展阶段转向高质量发展的阶段。那这个是否意味着说，对经济增长增速的减缓的容忍度的提高？另外，未来还会设计怎样的一个指标体系来更好的衡量这个经济发展？谢谢。
With China Daily, my question is about China's economic growth. It is pointed out in the report of the 19th Party Congress that the Chinese economy has been transitioning from a period of high-speed growth to one of high-quality development. Does high-quality development make economic slowdown more acceptable? And what indicators will be designed in the future to reflect and measure the quality of economic development? Thank you.
谢谢，这是一个非常重大的这种问题，这既是一个重大的理论问题，也是一个重大的实践问题。在党的19大报告上，习近平总书记非常明确地提出。
It is also a theoretical, critical one, and also practice one. President Xi pointed out that the economic development model has transferred from a high-paced one to a high-quality one. And we also talked about that we also talked about this issue yesterday. Currently, NDRC has organized a special group into further research of this regard. On the basis of the new development concept and ideas, we will have a further research on the high-quality development. In order to achieve a higher quality, a higher efficient and high effectiveness development, we will need to push forward the quality reform, efficiency reform, and further method and measures should be taken. We should also deepen the reform of supply side. Our initial initiative will be set out in 5 aspects. And we need to make it an innovation-driven practice, especially in the high-tech projects and industries. In the past few years, we've been following with the developed countries, and now we are beginning to take a leading role. We have made great achievement in various industries, including space area and also deep-sea detections. And with the development of high-tech industries, we aim to drive the development of traditional industries. And traditional enterprises' magnificent transition will be pushed out. This is done by the drive of market that represent around 400 million enterprises. And a lot of shortcoming enterprises is closed because they failed to meet up with the demand of our people. That's why we will drive and push forward the reform of supply side so that to drive the traditional enterprises to be more innovative, so that to facilitate a bigger momentum of our economic development. Second is about the production. We should not produce for production. We should try to catch up with the demand of our people. Because what we are manufacturing or producing should always go in line with the demand of the market. How can we sell our product? Currently, there are more and more e-commerce enterprises, and we are combining online with offline. This kind of combination will boost new economic and consumption model. And these models will also facilitate a coordinated development of our economy. In terms of green development, we will have a higher standard. What kind of standard should we establish so that to go in line with our environmental protection requirement and to have zero emission? We also need to have big change in terms of our socialized and lifestyles, and also in rural areas, and also the waste reallocation, etc., in all kinds of aspects. We are pushing forward green development and green mobile method lifestyles. How can we do that? That all concerns various organizational system change and also institutional change. Next is about the openness. We are determined to expand our openness. Just now, when we mentioned that we will further push forward with the black name list and lower down the market entry so that to attract more foreign capital and domestic capital. We will also learn from the advanced management experience from abroad and also learn from the advanced technology so to facilitate the high quality economic development and then to facilitate a sharing life quality. Currently, the life quality of our people has been improved effectively, and we would try to solve the contradictory transition of our current status quo. We are still in exploring stage, and we know that friends from the press are all